What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training. And today we're going to be breaking down a great wide receiver football IQ quiz to test your knowledge of the position. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope we could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and would like access to 200 plus wide receiver drills with the exact sets and reps to follow, all organized into playlists, check out that very first link in the description below for 200 plus drills like we mentioned. Here is a clip of it on their website. That's kind of like our info page. And then here on the site, these are the different playlists we have right now. Wide receiver route running, releases, hands, gym work, all drills in there, 200 plus with the sets and reps to do. So check out that very first link in the description below if you want some more information. Let's get started with this video. So how the quiz style video works, if you're not familiar with it, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a pre-snap look, maybe ask you a series of questions on the pre-snap look, give you a chance to pause the video and answer those questions, and then we're going to break it down. Okay, so first one we got here, this is going to be like kind of like a head up catch technique look. So catch technique is where that DB is like 2 to 4 yards off, right in front of me, head up. How would you guys run a 3-step slant versus that specific coverage? So 2 yards in front of you, man up, not a specific leverage. How would you guys run a 3-step slant? So you guys go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So first things first here, anytime that we come up to the line, especially on these quiz style videos, we always try to talk about this. You need a pre-snap process, right? You have to identify the DB's leverage, how close or how far he is, and then what type of coverage it is. So obviously this DB isn't head up. He doesn't have a specific leverage. He's not shaded to the outside. He's not shaded to the inside. He is head up right in front of us, right? So how close or how far is he? He's maybe about 2 to 3 yards, and we have to run a slant route. So we automatically identify those things. So what we should do in this case is not just run the 3-step slant, because that's not enough to get separation. We wouldn't do a diamond release because the DB is in head-up press. That diamond release is only good when he's inside shade. What I would do is I would close the space and give a fake to the outside. I would just make sure that I step onto his toes and sell like I'm actually running to the fade with 1 step. We don't need to get fancy. We don't need to do the diamond release. I think it could work, but we don't need to do it. We just need to close space, give a move, then go. So let's play this full speed. So this wide receiver closed the space, gives this crossover, and then is able to win on that slant. The whole reason we do that, fellas, is just because he is in head-up press. Now, could you close the space with him and then do a diamond release? Absolutely, you could. However, that takes a little bit too long because that is no longer a 3-step slant. That is going to be like a 5-step slant. You close space, then we take 3 steps. Like that just takes a little bit too long. When you close space, if that was your idea, you better close space insanely fast. I recommend if he's head up like this, 2-3 yards off, let's close the distance, let's give him a fake, and then let's go. Let's play this full speed one more time. Great job by this wide receiver hitting that crossover, then winning on that slant. Okay, so now, next example I want to talk about here. This is going to be how would you run a 15-yard out route versus a DB who is an inside shade. I know it's kind of tough to tell here, but he is an inside shade, off-man coverage about 6 yards away. So how would you run a 15-yard out with the DB who's 6 yards off, inside shade? And this is going to be a 2-part question, but I'm going to give you a chance to answer this first. So you guys can go ahead and pause the video and think about your answers. So go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So if we got a DB who's inside shade, obviously we know he's trying to prevent the inside route. So if we have to run this 15-yard out, even a 10-yard out, we know that if we attack that DB's leverage to the inside, we close the space, we get him to move, that he's going to keep his leverage, and that'll give us more space to operate to the outside. We do not want to be that guy that just takes off and runs and just tries to run the out route because that DB, that's exactly where he wants us to go. Remember, when he's inside leverage, prevent the inside route, force everything to the sideline. So if we just try to take off and run, he is going to force us to the sideline. We will not have space. So we have to, if you said, let's attack his leverage inside for maybe 6 to 7 yards, then push up vertical to 15, that would be correct. If you said attack his leverage until 15, that's just a little bit excessive because chances are if we run and we get close to him, he's probably not going to weave and backpedal for 16 yards. He's probably just going to kind of sit there and try to get hands on us. So I would say let's attack him for 6 yards, close the space, and then take an outside release. So now let's get to the second part of this question. So the second part of this question is going to be why didn't this release why didn't this route work? What did this wide receiver do wrong? Because he does the right concept, but what did he do wrong that made it not work? So let's play this full speed, and I'll give you a chance to answer. So let's play full speed. So he comes off the ball, runs this move, breaks, but no separation, no space to the outside. Let's play it one more time. So what do you think this wide receiver did wrong right off of the get here? So what do you think this wide receiver did wrong? You guys can go ahead and pause the video, and then we'll break it down. So pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So first things first, again, when you come off the ball, like we said, when you're attacking a DB's leverage, guys, it's not just about attacking his leverage. It's about threatening his leverage, right? And again, there are so many wide receivers that watch these videos that know exactly what to do on their routes. They know exactly how to run routes. They know exactly how to structure their routes. They know different concepts. They know different coverages. They're smart. They're very, very smart wide receivers. But the guys that don't see a whole lot of success against talented DBs, against bad DBs, it don't matter. But against talented DBs, you need to have a combination of the football IQ side of things, but you also need to have the skills on the field to be able to apply it and like the technique behind it. So this wide receiver attacks the leverage, but you see how when he makes this move, yeah, he sold it. Yeah, he did a good job, made a good move. It's explosive cut. But there is 2 yards, or maybe even more than that, 3 yards, 4 yards of space between him and the DB. So even if we get this DB to jump, we still have to get to the goal line, which is 15 yards. And guess what that DB can do, even if we get him to jump? Cut us off. And then we're right there hugging the sideline with the DB right on my hip. That is a pick six situation for any quarterback. I don't care how good they are. So that's the reason why, if that's what you guys said, that would be correct. So he did not close space enough, fellas. When you attack that leverage, let's actually threaten that leverage. Let's step on his toes. Let's threaten him to the inside. Let's make him uncomfortable, because that's the only way we could move. Because the goal, again, the goal would be to be, maybe 2 yards closer, get this DB to jump, so when we push back up vertical, we could get hip to hip with him and actually stack, or make this break with him right on my hip, and we almost maybe lean into him, we make a hard cut, we give a head and shoulder fake, but we have space to run this route. If we try to just run around him and don't close enough space, we do not have any space to run any outside breaking route, comeback, out route, corner route, whatever it might be. Okay, so now, somebody asked us to do a little bit more coverage-based questions for the wide receivers. So this is going to be a coverage question, and this is good for outside wide receivers and even slot wide receivers to understand. So this is going to be a two-part question. Number one, what coverage does this look like pre-snap? So it looks pretty similar on both sides too. So what coverage do you think this is pre-snap? And then why is it important that a wide receiver needs to know the coverage, especially this coverage? So you guys go ahead and pause the video and think about your answer. So what coverage is this, and why is it important to know? So you go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's break this thing down. So this specific coverage, if you guys said cover 2, that would be correct. Now, it's not just cover 2 because there's 2 high safeties, right? Cover 2, cover 4, cover 6, all of those are 2 high safety concepts. So it does not mean that there's 2 high safeties. It means that the 2 deep zones of the field are going to be taken away. And so how we know that is because both corners look like they're playing outside leverage, and what those corners like to do in cover 2 is take away the flats. So that means that they're not dropping into cover 4, where we have 4 deep zones covered. That means that they're sitting in the flats, and there's only 2 deep zones covered from the safeties, right? So that's this coverage. That's what it looks like pre-snap. Now, again, how you can tell, though, is mainly by the safeties alignment. You see how both of these safeties are, well, this safety on the right side is almost lined up on the top of the numbers, and then this safety is outside of the hash. They're very, very wide. If it was like any other coverage, they'd be in a little bit tighter and maybe even a little bit lower. So that's your first tell, because the corners will lie to you with their coverage. Now, why is it important to know the coverage? Because you can anticipate if you are getting the ball or where you want to settle in your routes. So let's say, for example, you have to run a post route. You could probably anticipate that you're going to be getting the ball, because if we have something vertical on the outside like a fade, that's probably going to pull this safety, and you should expect the ball. And that's where you should expect the ball as wide receiver. Now, let's say, for example, because this corner's sitting in the flat, safety's coming over the top, let's say you have to run a fade and you're on the outside. You could get the ball against cover 2, because a fade is a cover 2 beater, just not an over-the-top fade, probably a hole shot fade. So you should maybe settle your route. You clear the corner, you work a release. Let's maybe settle a little bit. Let's not run with my head down full speed and not expect the ball. You have to know the coverage so you can know where to sit in the coverage, how to structure your route, and can expect that actual pass. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this video gave you guys some value. I appreciate everybody watching, everybody engaging with these videos. And again, fellas, if you would like 200 plus wide receiver drills that you can do, check out that very first link in the description below. Everything's organized into playlists. Everything's giving you sets and reps. So again, very first link in that description below. Hope you could check it out. I'll see you guys next time.